Okay, this is 1-4 vodcast being a wise health consumer. You probably don't get to decide when to go to the doctor, what doctor to go to, what cough syrup to buy, things like that. Your parents probably decide that for you. When you become ill, you probably don't search the internet looking for info about your symptoms. But as you become older, you're going to start making decisions about your health, including which products and services you buy. So you need to know how to evaluate these products, the services, and the information that's offered. So buying those health products and services is being a health consumer. So making healthy consumer choices. And the definition of a consumer is someone who buys products or services for personal use. This can be, the services could be a doctor's office, the dentist, physical therapy, things like that. A product would be cough medicine, Tylenol, Advil, the prescription meds that you're prescribed when you're sick, those things like that. So here we go again. As a teen, you're making more and more decisions about your health, including which products and services to use. You've probably figured out what shampoo and conditioner you want to use, what deodorant you prefer. Those are all health products. You need to know how to evaluate these products, the services, and information that you are offered. So products. Some factors to consider before buying a product are its safety, its cost, warranty, and are there any consumer testing? So going into safety, if you are taking a medication for the first time, make sure you read the product labels and other information carefully. You want to know what the product is made of. Make sure that you have no allergies, that you're not allergic to something that's in there. This goes for all vitamins, dietary supplements, any prescription meds, over-the-counter meds, things like that. Any kind of health product, make sure you read the labels. You don't want to be surprised by having an allergic reaction to something. This can also be snack food, sports drinks, personal care products, all of that stuff. Household cleaners and pest control products that can be harmful. Make sure you read the ingredients on all of those labels. Let's see, some products are consumable, meaning they can be purchased again and again. These examples are hair care products, skincare products, weight loss products, sports drinks. The marketing of these products are aimed towards teens and young adults. They often claim, the marketing people often claim that using these will enhance your personal appearance. And, my thing that comes to my mind are the Axe commercials. Guy sprays Axe, and all of a sudden these girls all flock to him like he's a magnet. They're targeting a specific audience. It's suggesting that it will improve your emotional or social well-being. Some products are durable, meaning they are meant to last for only a certain number of years before they wear out. Most sports equipment are durable products. Having the right equipment and protective gear is essential for when you participate in any kind of sport, such as football. Would you go out and play full contact football without pads, helmet? If you would, you're crazy. You don't need to do that. The right equipment is important when you exercise to maintain fitness. So, let's talk about cost now. So check to see if there are other brands. Comparison shop. Is there another brand or another product that will give you the same result at a lower cost? Not necessarily going for a cheaper product, just a lower cost product. Warranty. If you purchase something and it breaks or it doesn't act right, will they replace it? So a warranty, definition of a warranty, an offer to repair or replace the product if there is a problem. So let's say you go and you buy this $1,000 weightlifting machine. Second day you use it, something breaks, it doesn't work. What are you going to do? Did you get a warranty? Will they repair it? Will they replace it? What do you do? So make sure you know that. And then the last thing is consumer testing. There are some government agencies and private groups that test a wide range of consumer products. They publish all of these results and the recommendations. Groups may endorse certain products or they may approve products that rate highly on their test. And by doing so, the group is saying that the claims made by that product, by that manufacturer, are true. So look into consumer testing. I'd be curious to know if there are any consumer testing on Axe, the Axe products. Do they actually cause people to go crazy like that? Look that up for me. Let me know. Okay. Moving on to services. So, services. You again, we're going to talk about doctors, dentists, hair salon, nail salons, gyms. Do you have a membership in a gym? Do you go to yoga? Different things like that. Those are all different services. If you go to the wrong nail salon, you might develop an infection. If you choose the wrong gym or health club, you might end up with an injury because you don't have a decent trainer. So when you evaluate a service, you need to find out whether the person who will perform the service is qualified. Where do they get their training from? Whether you choose a service on your own or you have a service chosen for you, there are certain questions you should ask. So these are here. What kind of education experience does the person have? Does the person have the required educational degree, license, or certification? Do you want to have a teacher who has never taught before, has no certification in teaching, and has no training? What would the point of that be? Same thing. Would you go to a doctor who failed out of med school? You need to know this stuff. Does the person have references? Ask for names and telephone numbers of people who've used them. If they have nothing to hide, they're not going to have a problem with you checking up and calling about references. Have any complaints been filed with your state's attorney general's office? You can go to the Better Business Bureau's website or Google our attorney general, and they have a listing of different services and places around the state that have had complaints filed against them and the outcome of those complaints. So you can check into all of that. All right, information. How do you evaluate health information? Okay, you got to be able to evaluate the source. So let's say you're playing around online, you're Googling, I have a headache and I'm running a fever. You're Googling these different symptoms. How do you know the person on the other side of that computer is not a 12-year-old little boy who just created his own website because he thinks it's funny? How do you know that? How do you know that the maker of that website is not just trying to sell you a product? What is the purpose? So we're going to learn to evaluate internet sources. Before you purchase a product, you need to evaluate where it came from. Is it accurate? Is it useful? Ask the same type of questions about health information that you would about services. Is the source qualified to speak on the topic? Is it just someone who's created a wiki page who's just putting their opinion out there with no basis, no background behind it? It's just their opinion. Does the source bring a bias or a slant to the topic? For example, are they trying to sell you a product? Unfortunately, most people are out to just try to make money. They're trying to sell you something, so they may not tell you all of the negative things. Are there other reliable sources that reached the same conclusion? So were there multiple tests done and they all came to the same conclusion? Is the information current and up to date? If the last time the website was updated was 2 years ago, that's not going to be current information. There's government agencies, medical associations, and non-profit private health groups who provide reliable info. So do reporters who specialize in science and health topics. If you watch the news and they go to a contributing editor, a doctor, things like that, oftentimes that's pretty reliable information. Advertising. So all of these things, everything that you see on TV is an advertisement. There are advertising executives who make billions of dollars just selling airspace. It's basically all it is, they're selling air. A Super Bowl ad, 30 seconds of airtime runs about $1 million. So these companies are paying $1 million for 30 seconds of airtime. But the advertising is effective. Businesses spend millions of dollars each year because they want to attract customers. So let's see. The definition of advertising is the public promotion of a product or service. Ads appear on TV, in radio, in newspapers, magazines, billboards, and in movie theaters. They also pop up on the internet now. Everyone is influenced by advertising to one extent or another. Most of the ads on the internet, the ads can let you know what products and services are available, but they rarely provide the info you need to make a wise choice. Again, advertisers are trying to sell you a product. They're trying to make money. So they're not going to tell you all of the negative stuff, or if they do, it's really quick, really fast at the end of the commercial, and you can't understand what they're saying. So, let's see, an ad may say that a certain medicine contains an ingredient that most doctors recommend. Well, that statement in and of itself may be true, but the ingredient is likely to be found in similar medicines. If you've ever had to take Dramamine, which is motion sickness medicine, grab a bottle of that, look at the ingredients, and grab some Benadryl. They're made of the exact same thing. Benadryl and Dramamine, exact same thing. They're just marketed differently. One's a little bit more expensive because they're marketed differently. So pay attention to labels and look at things like that. An ad may say that a certain store is selling a product at the lowest possible price, but unless you check around and see what the other prices are at other stores, you'll never know if the claim is true. An ad may mention scientific studies, but unless the ad explains how the studies were done or provides actual results, the claim based on these studies can be false or misleading. We're going to get into 6 different methods of advertisers that advertisers use to sell products and services. And let's do that right now. So, advertising methods. There's 6 of them. You can see those here. You will need to be familiar with these. I'm not going to go in and read each one of these. You can read these on your own. You will have to fill out information on these on your note-taking guide, but be familiar with all 6 of these, their message, and then here's an example. All right, so moving on to health fraud. If a person lies to obtain money or property, they have committed fraud, just plain old fraud in and of itself. When someone lies to obtain money, they are guilty of an illegal act called fraud. People who sell useless medical treatments or products is guilty of medical fraud, which is called quackery. I know that's a little bit funny, but if you've ever heard, my grandma used to refer to her doctors as quacks. If you've ever heard that term, that's where it comes from, medical fraud, quackery. So a quack is not, it's a derogatory term people use for doctors. It means they don't really know what they're doing. Quacks promise that a treatment or product will bring about a miracle cure or at least greatly improve the person's health. You know, you've seen the commercials, take this one miracle drug and all of your problems will be solved. Well, that's not possible. One of the biggest dangers of quackery is that it can keep people from receiving the proper medical care that they need. If a person believes if someone has a terminal illness, meaning that they're going to die from their illness, and they don't receive the medical help they need because they've fallen victim to someone claiming they have the cure, you know, that's pretty sad. So they might postpone seeing a doctor and getting the actual help that they need. All right, so one type of health fraud is quackery. You have fraud, which is just basically telling lies to obtain money, and then quackery is the medical fraud. So how to recognize health fraud? There are some specific things that you can look for. Quacks depend on people's lack of knowledge and their desperate desire to find a cure. If a disease is terminal or life-threatening, such as cancer, those are usually the biggest targets for quacks. So are conditions that are long-lasting. You know, if you have chronic arthritis, chronic weight problem, anytime you hear the term chronic, that means it's not going away. And those people are usually more susceptible to quackery because they're looking for a cure, something to make their lives better. So here are some warning signs. If someone claims that a product or treatment is the only possible cure for a health problem, you know, there's more than one treatment out there. Just like for headaches, you got Advil, Tylenol, ibuprofen, Aleve, so many probably other ones that I don't even know of. All of those pretty much do the same thing. Now, they are different types of pain-relieving medications, but they basically do the same thing. There's not only one possible cure. If the promised results seem too good to be true, chances are they probably are. I know, you ever heard that term, it's too good to be true? Most likely it probably is. If the product or treatment is said to cure many different ailments, one medicine or treatment can only cure or treat one thing. Usually they don't. They're specific. The medicine is made to target specific things inside your body. Chances are it can't do more than one. If a product is said to contain special or secret ingredients, number one, you do not want to be taking anything that you don't know what is in it. And if they do not want to tell you what is in it, that's a good indication that you shouldn't take it. And then how to respond to health fraud. If you have any doubts about any product or treatment, talk to a doctor or pharmacist. Notify your state's office of the Attorney General about anything that you feel, trust your gut. Chances are, if you feel that you have been misled, you probably have been. If a local business owner is involved, let your local Better Business Bureau know. If you buy a fraudulent product that is shipped to you by mail, then notify the postmaster. And so then what do you do? So your rights as a consumer, let's say you purchased a product that is not up to par. It's not what you want. So you do have certain rights. Let's pretend that you just bought an exercise bike because you're trying to stay fit. A week later, a pedal broke off that bike. So you go back to the store and you're given a new pedal. 2 months later, the speedometer stops working. Go back to the store, but the salesperson tells you that the bike only had a 30-day warranty and the store is no longer responsible. What are you going to do? If you don't know your rights as a consumer, then that's where you're going to get into trouble. So you have a right to information. You need information about products to make wise choices. You need enough information to make an informed judgment about whether a product or service is safe and effective. And then you need to know the consumer protection. There are several different agencies, government agencies, that are here to help protect consumers. Some agencies test products before they can be sold. Others take actions against fraud and quackery. Some agents remove unsafe products from the market. Just a few. You've got the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission. They mostly prevent unfair and deceptive advertising. You have the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. They protect the public from sale of unsafe food, drugs, and cosmetics. You have the CPSC, the Consumer Product Safety Commission. They establish safety standard for consumer goods and take dangerous products off of the shelf. So whenever you've seen a recall on a baby toy or things like that, it's usually the Consumer Product Safety Commission that's done that. So the last thing is the right to complain. If you have a problem, complain to both the store that you sold the product and the manufacturer. Ask for a refund. But follow these steps to make your complaint effective. If you don't know who to complain to, you're just talking to talk. If you go and complain to the first cashier you see, that's not the person that you need to help you. You got to figure out who is in charge. So identify the problem. Be as clear and specific as possible about what is wrong. If it's the pedal that broke, if it's whatever it is, know exactly what's wrong with the product. Decide on your goal. What is the point of you complaining? How do you want to resolve this? Do you want a refund? Do you want it replaced? Do you want it repaired? Or do you want store credit? Collect all of the documents that you have. Sales receipts, warranties, any canceled checks, contracts, repair records, anything like that to back up your complaint to prove that you've been dealing with this. And then identify the person in charge. Find out who has the power to deal with your problem. It could be a customer service representative, or it could be a manager. Once you do this, you need to put your complaint in writing. Let's go back one. Yeah, so put your complaint in writing. Sometimes you'll need to send a letter. It might be because you no longer live near the store where you bought the product, or it could be you ordered it from a catalog or a website. You might also need to write a letter if you don't get satisfactory results by complaining in person. Nowadays, it's probably going to be an email, not a letter. So when I say letter, it can be the same thing as an email. It's especially important if the product has a time-limited warranty. So if you are emailing about a product, make sure you include the following information: the product's model and serial number, the location and date of purchase, your specific complaint and your suggested resolution, your name, address, phone number, and the best times to reach you, a summary of any conversations you've already had in person, and a reasonable date by which you expect actions to be taken. Be careful, be firm, but be respectful. Avoid writing any angry or threatening letters. That can be used against you. So keep a copy of everything that you send. If you don't receive a response or you're unhappy with a response, contact the national headquarters of whatever company it is. Write a letter or send an email to the Better Business Bureau or your local state consumer protection agency. And when all else fails, people may file a complaint in small claims court. The court proceedings usually do not require a lawyer and are relatively simple, quick, and inexpensive.